Welcome back, ladies and defaults, to another video. I know there are a lot of you guys who are new to Rogue Company and don't know what to do, or you might be a player that has been playing the game for a while now and you're not seeing any improvements. So today I'll be telling you guys 7 tips on how to get better at Rogue Company. So if this video helps you, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, because I'll be uploading more Rogue Company tips videos later in the future. So if you don't want to miss any of it, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the first tip. Tip number 1 is play a lot of Rogue Company. Tip number 1 is play a lot of games. Everyone should know that you won't get better by watching, but get better at doing it. Sure, it may help you learn some basic things by watching your favorite Rogue Company player, but if you only watch them and not play the game, you won't be able to learn how to really do it, because you have to develop those muscle memory, getting some basic knowledge or some other things that you only experience by playing. So when you have the time, play as much as possible so that you will be able to gain experience. And also, if you don't have any friends to play with, there are a lot of Rogue Company communities that you could join and find friends to play with. So for my very first tip is to play a lot. Alright, just have to keep that in mind. Playing a lot will gain you a lot of experience and will just make you a whole better player. For tip number 2 is be patient. There are a lot of you guys that get very impatient and greedy, causing you to lose, and you wonder why you keep dying. By being patient, you can focus and try to understand the situation and come up with a strategy that you could do to win the game. This can go in any situation. For example, you're in a 1v1 situation where all you have to do is just buy time so that the enemy won't have the time to defuse, and when they do, you have the advantage to shoot back because they're an easy target. And also, players get impatient most of the time and they will make a mistake, and you can use that mistake to your advantage and win the game or the gunfight. So remember to try to be patient and understand the situation. For tip number 3, be aware of your surroundings. What I mean by being aware of your surrounding is not just by listening to your enemy's footsteps, but everything around you. For example, if an enemy is trying to defuse the bomb, you can see at the very top that the diamond shape with a letter in it and is being outlined by the color red. That means that the enemy is defusing the bomb, so that is your cue to move on and make an action. Also, if you play strikeout, it's gonna be the same thing but a little different. That just means if there's 2 sword crossing, that just means there are someone on the site and you might want to kill them so that they don't get in your way. Another example of being aware of your surrounding is that each rogue has a sound cue that they make when they activate their ultimate. For example, Sigrid, Ronin, Scorch, and more. You might want to get to know them so that you know what's happening around you.
Shields up!
So make sure to be aware and learn those sounds and visual reference so that you are one step ahead of your enemy. For tip number 4 is when you're in a shootout, make sure not to overpeak and use the correct shoulder so that you don't fully expose your body. And also make sure to use every cover that you have, and this tip goes with tip number 3 by being aware of your surroundings. New players tend to overpeak corners or just overpeak gunfights, causing them to expose more of their body and an easy target for the enemy. And do not forget that the Rogue Company has a cool mechanic that lets you peek just by aiming down sight and cover. Make sure to use this mechanic, because comparing it to the old-fashioned way where you have to stand up to peek, the old-fashioned way will expose you more than the rogue's mechanic. So make sure not to overpeak and use rogue's mechanic. For tip number 5 is ADS versus Headfire. You should know when to Headfire than ADS so that you can get an advantage by being able to move more freely than aiming down sight. So when you're in a gunfight, try to understand the situation as fast as possible and think if it would be better to use the ADS or Headfire. And also try to practice the range of Headfire and ADS in the shooting range and estimate at around where you should be Headfiring instead of aiming down sight. For tip number 6 is get better with guns and not rogues. The rogues ultimate are there to help you in a certain situation, and you can't use your ultimate at any moment. So by practicing guns, you are able to learn the recoil of the gun and estimate time to kill so that you are not exposed for very long. And most rogues have the same gun, so let's say you have a favorite gun and 2 rogues of them, you can try both rogues to see which rogue is more fit to you so that you'll be able to play more better. This tip is like hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. You practice a gun that fits you the best and also fighting a rogue that fits you the best with the gun that fits you the best. So make sure to practice in the shooting range and try out different guns and see which are more fit to you and master it. For tip number 7, our very last tip is find the best suitable settings for you. This is the most important tip out of all the 7 because if you don't find a suitable setting for you, you won't be able to win gunfights. So in the end, you're gonna change your settings and now you have to start all over again and the cycle repeats. Don't try to copy your favorite rogue's player setting because it may not suit you and it may just do worse than better. So go to the shooting range and try out different things before going to a game. And once you're comfortable with your new settings, stay in the shooting range for a little bit and just practice and try to develop the muscle memory, and then just try to practice with your guns, your rogues, and just practice in general with your new settings. And also I'll be making a controller setting guys for you controller players out there in the future, so if you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications so you won't miss it. So anyway, ladies and defaults, that is gonna be the 7th tip on how to get better in rogue company. I promise you I will be making more of these, so if you don't want to miss them, make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications. But anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.